Hello and welcome once again to the Franken Star Theory. In this video, I will demonstrate how the pyramids were naturally formed in the same manner, which quartz crystals are formed. My name is William O'Connor and I have spent the past 40 years working in the sign industry. From the east coast to the west, I have assembled and erected dozens of giant signs for shopping centers across Canada. Near the end of 2016, I watched my first documentary about the Great Pyramids of Egypt. What I found most intriguing was that nobody had figured out their true origins. They are said to be tombs, built by ancient Egyptians. However, there's never been a realistic explanation as to how they were made. At the end of the documentary, the narrator said that nobody has been able to figure out just how they were made. Nobody over the past 5,000 years. The first thing I asked myself was, what do all those who have tried to solve it have in common? Beginning their theories with the pyramids being man-made seemed pretty common among those who tried to solve this puzzle. There are some exceptions where some believe that aliens were involved. However, I prefer to keep things more down to earth. So not being satisfied that they were man-made, I began to wonder if they had somehow grown out of the ground. With this new idea in my head, I began a year-long journey of discoveries about the pyramids and our ancient past. I had concluded that all of the pyramids on Earth were naturally formed in the same manner as crystals are formed, by a repeating pattern of electrons and protons through electromagnetic forces, only on a colossal scale. The molecules of a quartz crystal are comprised of pyramid shapes. The anatomy of a pyramid-shaped crystal has three functional, or magnitude areas. The bottom, where the energy is drawn into the pyramid, the middle, where the energy is increased, then the top, where it is at its maximum level of energy. Energy rises, just as heat rises. To determine the three levels of magnitude, you must first measure each side of the triangle from top to bottom, then mark the centers of each. Next, using a square, draw two lines from your marks towards the inside of the triangle until the two lines touch in the middle. Draw a line across the triangle at that level, parallel with the base. This line represents the border between the bottom and middle magnitudes. From that line up, the energy will be multiplied by 10. For example, if the base of the pyramid draws in 150 Gauss, which is a measure of piezoelectricity, the middle will now be 1500 Gauss, 10 times more than below that line. The third level of magnitude is determined by measuring from the first magnitude level, where the two side lines meet, then up to the top of the triangle. Divide that measurement in half, and then mark a line across, for what will be the third level of magnitude. From this line up, the energy will again be multiplied by 10, bringing it up to 15,000 Gauss. So basically what a pyramidal-shaped crystal does, is take whatever the amount of energy is drawn into the base, and magnify it by 1000% to the tip. The center spot, where the two side lines meet, is the cube root of the pyramid. The energy condenses itself into the nucleus at that stage, then magnifying it as it rises. This is the main energy of the crystal, the strength. The top level is the mass distribution section. The energy released from the top would be in the form of positive radiation, again multiplied by 1000% more than what is drawn in from the base. These images show how to determine the three magnitudes of a pyramid, followed by a diagram of the Great Pyramid's design. Notice how the registration lines, which are used to determine the cube root of the crystal, are similar to the shafts design inside the Great Pyramid. This adds even more complexity to the design of the pyramid, which had never been acknowledged until now, because now, it would appear that if someone had built the pyramid, they did so in the same design as a crystal, having the king's chamber right at the cube root of the structure. Crystals grow naturally out of solutions, like gases, some from snowflakes and water crystals. One of the most important places crystals will grow is out of melted materials when they are cooled. Most rocks on Earth are made up this way. Granite is a good example, which may contain grains of quartz, pink feldspar, and flecks of mica. Each of these grains would form as single crystals, They do not mix together but rather crystallize out in separate grains. This would explain the different materials found within pyramids, joined together but not mixed together. My book is about the origins of the pyramid, yet I had only dedicated one page, describing its complexity. There are dozens of books on the market, explaining the finer details of the pyramid, though they all end up with the same unanswered questions. I didn't feel the need to tell you what you already know, then add a mystery to it, which further stumps your brains and leaving you with no answers. The book Frankenstar holds the answers, so I have appropriately named the formation of the pyramids, the crystal solution, as this theory truly brings closure to what the pyramids are. Above I have demonstrated how the Great Pyramid is designed in the precise manner as a crystal. Now, what I am going to show you is some images, which will provide you with physical and undeniable scientific proof that the Great Pyramid was formed in the same way as a natural crystal. There is a short educational film from 1958 called The Physics of Crystals, hosted by Alan Holden. Within this video, he shows crystals forming under a microscope. Here is a screenshot from the video. It shows a square-shaped crystal forming with an inward spiraling pattern to it. Just like the game Pictionary, I immediately remembered seeing a similar image before, in a video that theorized the idea of an interior spiral ramp, used to build the pyramids, which I obviously do not support. However, during the hypothesis, the architect met with a member of the French Science Academy named Huey Donbouy, whom in 1986 had done some microtype scanning of the Great Pyramid. Not to try and solve how it was built, but rather to search for hidden voids or chambers. Their efforts went unrewarded, however he had later loaned his image scans to the internal ramp theory video. These scans have now proven to be worth their weight in gold, because as you can see, they show an undeniable match to the crystal forming image above. Take some time and study these photos, or watch these films and witness for yourself. We humans need look no further than the universe, to see how small we are. In the eyes of the universe, our planet is tiny, comprised of even tinier specks of crystals. This is how you must view the pyramids, to fully understand and accept my discoveries, which can only lead to the Frankenstar theory. For more evidence that the pyramids were formed like crystals, one of the key ingredients of natural crystal formation is ammonia. There are many reports that the pyramids each smell of ammonia. I've heard people say that they felt sick from the overwhelming presence of ammonia, especially in the Red Pyramid. What this all means is that there are undeniable similarities between pyramids and natural crystals. By the way, humans also excrete ammonia in our sweat and urine. And we also produce pyramid-shaped stones inside our bodies, and if you really want to know what this indicates, read my book. This all proves that the pyramids are not man-made structures, but rather, natural formations. There is still the mystery of exactly what effects the pyramids had on our early atmosphere. I do have my theories on this, however, experts who study plasma energy and the physics of crystals might stand a better chance of determining precisely what the pyramids may have offered us. The only thing I am sure of is that the pyramids emphasized the electromagnetism of the sun throughout our atmosphere. When I imagine the pyramids in working condition, I picture them with an incredible glow around them, illuminating the skies with natural energy, 24 hours a day. Perhaps this is why it had only taken me a few seconds to recognize the pyramid inscribed on the Narmer palette. This stone is considered to be the oldest known hieroglyph in the world, dating back over 5,000 years, and since its discovery around 140 years ago, nobody to this day had noticed the pyramid carved on it, likely due to the glow shape around the pyramid. Naturally, I had recognized the rectangle shape as a window, looking out to a glowing pyramid outside. I then spent days researching to see if this was common knowledge, however, I could not find any mention of it anywhere. Wikipedia says, some had suggested that the rectangle might represent some kind of village or fortress, otherwise, its meaning has remained undeciphered. I also watched dozens of video presentations on the Narmer palette, and none of them even mentioned the rectangle in the top left corner of the stone. It's like it was invisible to everyone. I knew that the angle of the Great Pyramid was 52 degrees, so I measured the angle of the pyramid on the Narmer palette, and it was also 52 degrees. Then I realized that besides figuring out how the pyramids were really formed, I had just made one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history, by discovering the first image of the Great Pyramid, and I am not even an archaeologist. Mainstream academics believe that the pyramids are not that old, because there has never been any text, drawings, or descriptions of pyramids on any ancient artifacts known to exist. So they assume that humans had built them sometime during or after the dynastic period. Since the Narmer palette is the oldest known form of hieroglyph on Earth, and it has a carving of the Great Pyramid outside of a window, in working order. This further proves that the pyramids were present and functioning within the same time period as the earliest hieroglyph, which is known to exist. There is nothing on Earth older than the pyramids. Incidentally, it was over a year ago that I had figured out that the pyramids were formed like crystals. However, I had only just recently learned about the cube root of a pyramid-shaped crystal, as well as the other similarities, like the presence of ammonia, and the spiraling radar photo, which clearly resembles the formation of the crystal photo. If you would like to learn more about how I determined that the pyramids were formed naturally, and own a piece of history, it's all in my book Frankenstar, available on Amazon. Click on the link in the description below. From solving how the pyramids were formed, to my discovery of the very first depiction of the Great Pyramid, carved upon the Narmer palette, my book covers all of this, including my own hypothesis on the effects, which the pyramids may have had on us, and why a lead-based eye makeup may have been used in ancient times. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe for more. Cheers.